ahead.
Derek, DA said you were pretty much on the same regimen as last week, but he said you threw some today, limited. Just how much different, better does it feel from last week?
I feel much better this week than I did. Better, and we feel better, and we can't forget what we're capable of. It's easy when it gets hard, especially early in the season. It's easy to let it beat you up, and but DA did a great job of leading us today and reminding us that we still have everyone and what it takes to accomplish what we want. Let's just do the things better that we talked about, and today at practice we did those things better, so hopefully that leads to more success on Sunday.
Derek, when you went back and looked at the tape, just those misses with Chris, and when you were kind of looking at it, were you like, all right, there's some opportunities we probably missed that we could have hit him for some big plays? Was there what Tampa was running? What was kind of the reason why you and Chris probably couldn't connect on a lot of those targets?
Yeah, I mean, we threw one to the end zone, and they did a great job of getting a hand in there. The one on the sideline, I was expecting one thing, and he did something, so we cleaned that up. We got better there. WGNO. And then the one to Mike, we cleaned that up. We talked about it. We did better today. Before even practice started, I was like, I got to fix that before we even get on to what we're doing this week. So we did get better, but it's still frustrating because it cost us a couple plays we felt in the game. But we're moving forward and excited about this week.
I know this may be an obvious question, but how important is it to get him involved and get those? I mean,
Chris?
Yeah, with Chris.
Oh, I mean, we want to get everybody involved, and sometimes there's going to be games, like I've said from the beginning, that he's going to have a lot of catches, and there's going to be games that he doesn't, and there's going to be games where other guys have them, and this and that, and we're on the same page in our room that there's going to be no frustration, there's going to be no selfishness in that kind of sense. Never sensed that, still haven't sensed any of that from any of our guys. And so whenever we have that, everyone understands that they're going to do, some teams are going to try and take some guys away, especially this team that we play this week. They're the kings of doing that, So we got to make sure that all our skilled guys are ready to get the ball and ready to work with it when they get in their hands, no matter what.
Derek, that was the exact question I was just about to ask. Is that a cliche with Belichick, or is it the truth that his specialty is taking away what you like best?
Yeah, they try and take away what you like best. In other ways, they like to make you play left-handed. They all these different terms that are thrown around, right? And there's no denying his success. There's no denying what he's been able to accomplish in being one of, if not the best coach to ever coach football, and that's a pretty amazing statement, and he is time after time after time proven in every and all circumstance that he can get his guys ready to go, and being able to take away your best things that you do and attack what they feel are your weaknesses or things that they do great.
Well, I was going to say, I'm sure it's oversimplified to say, look, Tampa Bay decided to stay over the top, keep these deep receivers from making the big plays they were making routinely in the first 3 weeks. I'm sure there's counter punches to that because teams can't just take away players like Chris Olave. But I mean, how much do you guys need to demonstrate that a counter punch to that if teams are going to take that approach?
Yeah, there's definitely different ways to do it. And again, we still had a couple opportunities, even though they are doing that. You just don't have as many opportunities when teams are trying to do that. It just limits the amount of chances that can happen, right? And so there's always a time or two in a game, depending on how teams are playing, that you have an opportunity. You got to make sure you try and hit them. You want to hit them all. It's tough to do that far down the field, but we're going to do our best to try and do it.
Didn't you play a Belichick defense last year?
Did I?
Didn't you?
Yeah, we did.
How'd you do?
I think we won the game.
Yeah, you won.
If I remember correctly. That means nothing today. Yeah.
You threw a game-tying touchdown in the last minute, and then there was that weird thing in overtime.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Chandler caught it.
Not overtime. The end of the game.
That's right.
Oh, yeah. Oh, regulation.
I'm not gonna lie. As soon as you said it, I remembered the game, but I forgot that's how it ended. But that has nothing to do with this week.
But I'm saying you have played against that defense, so you understand.
Multiple times. Yeah. I've practiced against them last year in training camp. my rookie year played them and played them I think 2 or 3 more times after that, and so I know the challenge, and I know going to bed that night I will be extremely exhausted mentally. It's taxing on your mind. There's a lot of things to handle, but I'm excited for that challenge. Anytime you get a chance to go against the best, it's a fun opportunity. But yeah, it's mentally taxing of a day for sure.
When you said no selfishness, no finger pointing, no frustration, things like that, is that because you're a veteran who's been there and done that, and Pete's a guy who's been here? I mean, DA's fielding questions about changing play callers, and everybody on TV's talking about what's wrong. Is maybe because the fact that you've been here, done that through tough times before, not here, but in the league, maybe kind of a little bit calming? Yeah,
I've been through tougher times than this, we're going to be all right, and we got the right kind of people, I think, is where it starts with. It's a people business, and you got to have the right kind of people. We have the right kind of people in the room. We have people that know what they're doing. We have people that want to do it right, and they can do it right. And so, we want to get back on track just as bad as everybody wants us to, and we know what we're capable of. So the best thing is we just go out there and try and prove it again this Sunday, and make the corrections from what we've talked about, make our adjustments and things like that. But we have the right people, that's for sure.
Well, if you can get the run game going, what would that do for the offense as a whole?
Yeah, well, that makes teams play a little bit differently, and things like that. So anytime you can get the run game going, that and a good defense is always the quarterback's best friend.
I know you guys only actually had a couple snaps in the red zone kind of at the end of some of those drives, but just finishing drives in general, has that been a big talking point for the offense?
I think it's a big talking point, for a lot of teams right now, and we're one of them. But I think we know what we need to do. We've shown that we can do it, and then we've shown that we're just inconsistent. So I think the word consistency on, good day today, but what's it going to look like tomorrow? Can we be consistent enough to study and do the right things, not only today, but tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, until game day, And so I think that word of consistency from coaches and players, as long as we can be consistent, I think we'll have the results we want.
What kind of improvement did your offensive line show this past week?
I think that they've been improving throughout the weeks, and I thought they did a great job, especially last week, with some tough looks and some tough players to go against. And I'm excited about which direction they're headed and we're headed.
Derek, obviously Juwan wasn't out there last week, but it seems like the tight end position as a whole in terms of the passing game hasn't been particularly heavily used. Is there a reason for that, or is that something you've been looking at?
No. I mean, I've lived this world when it was me and Darren Waller for 200 catches. The receiver position, it's like, just whoever the ball's going to, we're going to talk about the bad ones that's not going well, or doesn't have as many catches or targets. Like, no, we're everyone is involved. Everybody has stuff in the game plan and on every play, and depending on what coverage they play or what is called, or there's a lot of different factors. Like AK had 13 targets. Was that the plan? No, but he had 13 targets. But it's just one of those things that hopefully, next time it'll be a different question, about a different position, because that means that it's just going how we thought it. It just keeps moving. However, whoever needs it in that game, that's what we try and do.
Speaking of the Kamara, the pop passes, is that something that has been worked into the offense, and what's the kind of reasoning behind that?
He's one of the best players in space with the ball in his hands, and he's proven that for a long time. He picked up some big yards for us in this last game. You go back in the film, he's scoring some long touchdowns on some of that stuff. I mean, him and the speedy guys in space, that's usually been good, for the history here.
You were just saying that you've been through tougher times than this. How would you just describe this current juncture of where you guys are at?
We're 2-2, one game out of first in our division, and it's only 4 games in. And it's not at all where we want to be, not what we expected, but it's what we've earned, and looking forward to earning some more. But I mean, I've started a season 0-10 before. This is not that. So
when you look at the average points per game so far and where it ranks, I guess like in 25th or something. I mean, just for lack of a better term, how does that just make you feel relative to what you expected?
Yeah, that part. Like if right now the worst thing to do is to get into numbers, good or bad. Like the main thing to do that I've learned from some coaches here and coaches in the past is like none of that right now matters. Like everyone is on a collision course to the end of the season of who can play their best football at the end. And so whether it's good now, good, let's make it better. Whether it's tough right now, good, let's make it better. And that part sounds so cliche, but you try not to get frustrated. You try not to get all that. You understand the urgency, you understand the diligence and what needs to take place. I'm not going to list out what we've talked about in there. Yeah, you guys know me. I'm not going to do that. But we know as players, okay, bam, 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 okay, got it. So when I go back in there, I better do that better than I did it last week, from everybody. So for us, you just want to consistently do that. And then hopefully at the end, you look at the number like, okay, that's better than how we started.
What about the concepts of like tempo and rhythm? I know it's a little bit intangible, but how important is that, and where are you guys in terms of that?
Yeah, I think rhythm-wise, I think we're getting better. I think tempo is something that we've gotten better at as the games have gone on. Just at the end of the game last week, we kind of were in it and we're going. It started to feel better. We're moving and things like that. But I just feel like from a rhythm and tempo spot, from where we were at the beginning of the year to where we're at now, I think we're getting better at that. I really do. And so the fact, when do we do it, when you don't do it, all that kind of stuff, that's up to coaches and things like that. But it's a good tool to have, and I think our operation has been good. I just think we got to execute better once the ball snapped.
Derek, you talked about being in tougher positions, starting a season 0-10. What have you maybe learned from how to crawl out of that and get a team back to where it needs to be that you want to bring here?
Nobody cares how you feel. Nobody cares what you're going through. Nobody cares about this or what that. No, not one single person cares, because on Sunday they're going to say, did you win or did you lose? And they're going to have two people at a desk talking about it, and that's all that matters. And to us, the only thing that matters is none of that should matter, right? Nobody cares how you feel. Nobody cares what you're going through. Just get back to work, do things better. That's football. And that since I was little, you get taught the best lessons through playing the sport or playing any sport, doing anything. Like, crap's tough sometimes. Life's hard. I've dealt with things way tougher than this in my life with my son or with my grandparents or with whatever. Like, this is football. It's tough. It's hard. Your back's against the wall a little bit. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to fight or are you going to quit? And so I think we're finding out a lot about our guys this week in their preparation. And hopefully, guys are taking it to another level of getting in on those details so that we can all, as a whole, offense, defense, special teams, be cleaner and feel better about it.
The fans in general kind of put a target on Pete Carmichael the last few weeks. What's the confidence level in the building in him as a play caller?
Yeah, like if you didn't tell me that, I would have no idea.
It's true.
Yeah, like no, I'm not denying that. But I don't pay attention to anything. Like, I pay attention, to what we're trying to do on the inside. And from the inside, we don't feel any of that. I don't know the word pressure or any of that angst or anxiety from Pete or towards Pete. We don't feel any of that. Like, we have such a veteran group that guys have been through a little bit that we came in just ready to work this week, and we weren't focused on the target or anything like that. Like I said, we don't talk about it. We don't know about it.
But is there confidence in him in the building?
We have great confidence. From a player's, I can only speak for players.
Right.
From a player standpoint, we love Pete. We know what he brings. We know how smart he is. We see when we turn the film on. No, that's on me. Or that's on you. Or like talking player-wise, like we got to do that better for you, Pete. And I think once we play better and we execute better, hopefully, there won't be a target on his back, because he's given his whole life to this city and this organization for a long time, and he's still the same amazing coach that he's been the whole time.
Derek, how do you, if possible, manufacture the yak, yards after catch?
I don't know. I just try and be accurate. For me, we don't want me out there trying to break tackles, catching the ball. I wouldn't be too good at it, but we try and get the ball to those guys that are good at it. But my job in that is just be as accurate as you can. And then coaches, creating plays to get guys in space and down the field and things like that so they can, do those things.
Derek, is there an added challenge this week facing a team that's kind of having the similar frustrations as you, looking for a bounce back win as well?
I would say no matter what, going against the Patriots is just a challenge in itself. Going against Coach Belichick and and all the talent that they have on their defense and offensively. Special teams, they always have a great unit. And so regardless of what happened last week, the NFL, you know, the hardest part about this media session is like we are so past the last game, you know, mentally, that you got to go back and, you know, talk about things. Like the NFL doesn't wait for you. You know, you're on to the next game. So we're on to the next game, and I know how tough of an opponent that he's been in the past and that this team has been in the past. And we know we got our work cut out in that sense.
You know,
Y'all done?
Alarm is the key.
I think actually some of us do care, but you know, we have to be objective, so we can't.
No doubt.
Thanks, Aaron.
Nobody cares about